Hi, and welcome to Freedom Phrase number 65. Freedom phrases are a few words that I string together, and they are designed to help you think differently, to think more expansively, to think more generatively, more creatively, more innovatively, and most importantly, to help you feel freer. And today's freedom phrase was inspired by a coaching conversation I had with a client who was having a tremendous amount of stress at work. She was experiencing stress all day long, and it was building, and there didn't seem to be any relief in sight. And so we were putting together this self-care strategy. I said, well, what would be your first guess about something that you could do to relieve stress? She said, I have to exercise. I have to exercise. And I can't get myself to. I know it's something I should do. I know it's something I need to do. I actually even want to do it, but I'm not willing to do it. So I know as a coach and someone who's been through tons of change that unless you're willing to change or you're willing to make something different, whether that's start a new habit, break a habit, change the way you behave in certain relationships, whatever it is, you must be willing to change in order for that to really take root. And she was not willing. So I said to her, would you be willing to be willing? And that is today's freedom phrase. Are you willing to be willing? Are you willing to be willing? Because to be willing is a big leap, right? You have all kinds of beliefs in front of it, thoughts, history about what it's going to be like, or maybe uncertainty about what it's going to be like. But you want to do it. But there's a little bit of hesitation, or maybe a lot of hesitation. And the question, are you willing to be willing, is a primer. It kind of sets the stage. And so I asked her, are you willing to be willing? And she thought about it. Yeah, I am. I am willing to be willing. I want to be willing to do this. So I said, well, if you're willing to be willing, I just want you to take a few days and just notice how that shifts. You go from I'm not willing, I'm not doing this, to I am willing to be willing. So we ended up talking the following week. We had another call, and I said, so how are things going? And she said, my normal plan for Friday was happy hour. And I called the friend that I usually meet for happy hour, and I said, hey, instead of doing, going right to the restaurant that we normally go to, would you be willing to take a walk first? We could take a walk in Central Park. The weather's supposed to be amazing. We can do whatever we want after that. But let's meet at 5:30 there instead of 5:30 at the restaurant. And she did. And that was simply because she was willing to be willing. It wasn't, a huge commitment. She didn't join a gym. She didn't have any accountability around it. It was just a shift in this idea that there was something other than just being willing. So are you willing to be willing? Are you willing to be willing to have a different relationship with a coworker? Are you willing to be willing to be a different kind of leader? Are you willing to be willing to start that exercise program, or change your eating habits, or go back to school, or whatever it is that you've been wanting to do? I've got 3 tips for you today on how to prime the pump to be willing to be willing. One is say yes. Say yes. I am willing to be willing. It's a teeny commitment. It's not as big as I'm going to do something about it, right? It's not a huge commitment. And the second tip is have some compassion for yourself. It's not easy to make change. And so this little step, this willing to be willing, is a gentle way in. And then the third step is look for a micro movement. In episode 64 of the Freedom Phrases, I said that micro movements make momentum. So make a little movement, just little something, and to know that, oh, there's my willing to be willing. If you found today's freedom phrase to be helpful, please share it. And if you haven't already subscribed to the YouTube channel, Jackie Lesser, please do so now. Love is the way, get in the way. These are ideas worth spreading, and I will see you here again next time.